you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I'm not sure why I didn't think of it sooner, but I'm also glad I didn't think of it sooner because I've given it, you know, going on 2 years of actually being with us to reflect on everything and get updated numbers to give you a more accurate picture of what life has been like since the twins have been born in regards to their severe IUGR diagnosis while I was pregnant. Now, Harper is the one who had severe IUGR. Hudson was regular IUGR. I'm gonna explain what that means in just a second. I am gonna recap mostly Harper. I'm gonna go through my pregnancy. If you haven't watched all those videos, you'll get the gist of what was going on. I know a lot of you have been with us since the beginning when all the crazy pregnancy things were happening. So I keep saying IUGR, and if you're not familiar, IUGR is intrauterine growth restriction. So it's when you're pregnant, your child inside you is smaller than they should be based on the measurements they take at your growth scans. Our first growth scan was at 19 weeks, normally 20 weeks, just like halfway through your pregnancy. And they measure all the bones and kind of create an estimate based on what week you are and how the baby is measuring, how up to par, where they fall on the scale. IUGR, not severe, just regular IUGR, is if the estimated weight of the baby inside you is under the 10th percentile. And severe IUGR is under the 3rd percentile. So if their estimated weight based on their measurement is on the very end of the scale, under 3%, that's severe IUGR. And that was Harper. There's just one chart for a fetus and doesn't take into account twins, which generally are smaller because your body is growing 2 of them, so there's just only so many nutrients to go around. So generally less space. I don't know, like twins just tend to be smaller, not all the time, but Hudson always trended small, but there were weeks when he was like 10%, 8%, 14%. He bounced around a bit. And of course the measurements, they get as accurate as possible, but there's still, I mean, it's a baby wiggling around in you. Like sometimes it is hard to get perfect. That's why I feel like some of them jump around. One of Harper's was really weird and I think it was wrong, but I'm gonna try to stay on track here. All these percentages I'm going off of are just for weight. So I feel like Hudson's good. Harper's definitely still teeny. So let's talk about her track here moving forward. So at 19 weeks when we went in, she was measuring at the 4th percentile, which is very little. So they were concerned about that, but at that time also they noticed my cervix was really short. I went in a couple days later, a week later, I had like 0.8 centimeters left of my cervix or something. So I had to go in and have a surgery to have a cerclage put in where they basically stitch your cervix so that it won't open. Otherwise it'll open, your water can break, and then lose your babies if it's too early. So that was at 19 weeks. So around that time we were like, okay, she's small, but we have some bigger fish to fry right now. Week 23, I went in and she had gone down to 1%, and I think actually it was under 1%. And that's when we realized as well, I must have actually been before that, but she had marginal cord insertion, which means that the cord that goes from her belly button to the placenta to give her nutrients, it attached to the end of the placenta, not the middle. So all the nutrients over here, it was really hard to get all the way here to the cord to get to her. So they think that is what it was causing the severe IUGR. So then at 26 weeks, she was 2%. I think somewhere in there, they had us meet with the head of the NICU to talk about the fact that they didn't know if she was going to make it and kind of what the process for that would be like if she passed. And saying it out loud, it's like, why would they make me do that? But at the time, I mean, it was all we thought about. All we were doing was just praying for Harper, and I was just laying low. I like literally didn't move any more than I had to. I think I went on my medical leave. Like I just wanted all my energy to go to to growing them. But in hindsight, like, it was practical for us to just have those conversations, I guess, instead of something tragic happening and in the moment being like, what is going on? What does this mean? What do we do? Like, we kind of just like knew what would happen were that to happen. So it's a bit of like, you know, obviously caused a lot of fear, but also gave us peace of mind in a way too. So week 29 is where things got funky, if you were around here, for two reasons. First being, I went in and they measured her and she went up to 11%, the 11th percentile for weight. And at the time I'm like, what? That's just such a severe jump. And I really do think something was off. I don't know if she got the baby switched, because I remember Hudson went down. So I don't know if she switched them on accident, because after that she dropped again. But 11%, everyone was so excited she hit 11%. That was 29 weeks, 3 days. And then at 29 weeks, 4 days, I went into full-blown preterm labor. I have a vlog on that. That was so scary. I was in the hospital for 5 days. It was literally a miracle. They fully, like, I was inconsolable. I was in so much pain. They think because of my cerclage, my body was expanding too much and pulling against the cerclage, so it was starting to like almost like tear. But we didn't know that at first, so they were giving me all sorts of things to stop my contractions, and I was doing magnesium drips, which if you've had them are awful. It makes your body feel like it's on fire, like you have the flu. They were covering me in cold rags. It was very dramatic. They were like, we can't stop your contractions. It's been 24 hours. We're gonna have to do a C-section. And again, we had to meet with the NICU team. Everyone was ready. They got the baby's names. They set stuff up for the nursery in the NICU. They thought Harper was going to be maybe 1 pound. And they prepped my body fully for a C-section, removed the cerclage, and we went to, and then we were gonna wait for the surgery. And once they removed the cerclage, everything stopped. Like all my contractions stopped. They were like, okay, we'll give it 15 minutes, we'll give it 30 minutes, we'll give it an hour. So I was there for 5 days and they let me go home. And then 7 weeks to the day is when they were born. So veered off a little bit there, but that was a really crazy, miraculous week. That was 29 weeks. So I went back at 32 weeks, she was 2%. Went back at 35 weeks, she was still 2%. And then they were born the next week, week 36. She was 4 pounds, 10 ounces. So she was a little peanut, but again, miraculously, did not need the NICU. Yeah, she had trouble breastfeeding for a while, for like 12 weeks. First, we had to finger feed, like put a pinky in her mouth and use a little syringe to feed her breast milk. And then we had to use like shields to nurse for 12 weeks. I want to talk about her growth since she's been born, because that's obviously been a really huge factor. Just watching how she progresses. I think she dropped down to just over 4 pounds when we came home from the hospital, which is crazy. Like trying to handle a 4-pound baby is like very scary, especially as a first-time mom. Like she was so little. They both were, but like 4 pounds, that's like half of like an average baby, like an 8-pound baby. So here's her growth chart since she's been born. So you can see it kind of rose up a bit, you know, drastically there from months like 4 to 12. And then she's leveled off a little bit. So she's definitely short is the thing. This is her weight chart. So this is her height. She's definitely on the lower end of things for that. And they were watching that pretty closely around like 10 to 18 months, because they were a little concerned about failure to thrive, which I feel like put a bit of fear in me that was unnecessary. She's just little, like, and again, this growth chart is just just a girl growth chart. They were born also 4 weeks early. That isn't taken into account. So I have never personally felt concerned about it because I feel like she hits her milestones. I'm so grateful. There's really never been anything major, you know, as far as developmental issues. Again, she's small, but she's still growing. It's not like she's stopped growing. She's just little. I have the percentages too from her weight. I'll show you. So she was born at 0.2% of what the average baby's weight is. then she dropped down to 0.03, 0.04. And so you can see that she's definitely picked up here in the past few months. Obviously adding in solid foods is a big piece of that. I mean, I think this is 10, 12, 18 months. So adding food made a really big difference. I want to talk about all of this today because one of the things that is always in my inbox on Instagram is messages from you who have found me because you had an IUGR diagnosis for your baby. It is really scary and obviously, you know, has been helpful to some of you to see what I went through and for me to give all the stats and information that I received and then to see how Harper's doing today. Totally normal, healthy, which I'm so grateful for. And earlier today I was going through all the charts and notes from all those doctor's appointments to gather those percentages. And I was telling Alec, I'm like, I am feeling so triggered reading all this. Like, I was like anxious reading through them, seeing the notes, and I knew what the outcome is, but it just totally brought me back to those feelings again of seeing, like, you know, concern for baby B and poor growth, not ideal, send reference to NICU. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could feel those feelings again. So if you're going through this right now, like, it's so emotional, it's so hard, and you feel so helpless. I just want to give you hope that it can absolutely turn out okay. Everything can be okay, and you can have a healthy baby. Like I mentioned earlier, and what I tell people when they DM me, prayer, if you pray hard, have other people pray for you too. And then, you know, things for your body you can do, rest as much as possible. If I had to go through all this now with twin toddlers, that would look really different. But if you're able to, just try to, like, not exert any energy. Don't do the dishes, don't vacuum, like, don't exert any more energy than you have to. Eat a ton of fats and proteins. I would do like Greek yogurt bowls with nut butter and walnuts and berries, and I would eat peanut butter by the scoop and protein shakes and avocado. They tell you not to stress, and like, come on. So I just want to give you hope that Harper is 20 months. She is killing it. She is so smart and bright and strong and feisty. She is the definition of like small but mighty, packs a big punch. So hopefully this was helpful to you to hear. Gives me a good perspective and appreciation every time I look at her, and especially after going through those notes again and just being like, wow, we've been through a lot. Please ask me any questions on in the comments or on DMs. I try to help as much as possible on there. So I hope you have a good day. See you on the next one. Bye.